Yo, what's up, guys? You on with me again? Always learn with crypto. And I had just watched this video here. This is Inside Edition, but it's dealing with salary transparency. And I have to say this, guys, because everybody's a little different. You know, a lot of times in the old school, it was discouraged that you tell people what you make. But you know, ever since I've been alive, you know, I'm like I said, I'm not super old. I'm past middle age, so. But I've never had a problem telling people what I earn. And sometimes even in business, I was never even able to sometimes even let my guys not know what I make because the customers would come up and say, "Well, hey guy, you just finished this job. Here's a couple $1,000." And he's like, "Oh man, thought you would have waited till I got inside the house before you gave me this money. Now I gotta, make sure these guys know that they think you're rich because you get one job or two jobs, there's a couple $1,000, but not knowing all the insurances and all the things that you got to carry, the business license and things of that nature. But long story short, you go from an employee to an employer, so to speak, or to an employee from an employee to an entrepreneur. It's a big change and it takes a heavy commitment because again, you live by the market and you die by it. And you'll hear me talk about that a lot on my channel, but I had to bring this out. Now I'll share this on my Twitter. So if you go to my Twitter, and I might even share it on Instagram, but this little lady, little young girl, but she was flexing. I will say that she was flexing. She went from 70,000 to 90,000. So she got $20,000 raise. Then she got fired because of showing what the company said, well, we now we trust you. We don't trust your judgment because you wasn't willing to keep this a secret, basically. Which I think is just crazy. I hope she tried to sue him, but I don't know if it was something in the contract or whatever. And you wrote to the comments, you read it yourself. But I kind of like what Mario Lopez said here. Salary transparency is exactly what the companies don't want. They only stand to lose when you know your worth. Now, guys, this is what I would tell you if I would never tell you anything else. And I want you to understand about you and what you're capable of. I kind of talked about in the last video a little bit about using your brain power and putting your mind to it, and you can do anything, all that, all the typical stuff we hear. But more importantly, guys, what I mean about knowing your worth. Stop selling yourself short. You do not have to work at Mickey D's for the rest of your life. You do not have to work at Taco Bell. You do not have to work at Walmart for the rest of your life. That's not the only thing that you're capable of doing. Maybe that is for right now something that's available to you for right now, but you're going to have to start thinking outside that box and you're going to try to have to start figuring out a way. I'm not saying to get rich and make a whole lot more money, but you can probably find something better if you put your mind to it and actually get active and put boots on the ground and figure out what you can do. You could almost go from picking up dog poop, make more money than you would make at Mickey D's. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody don't make little money at Mickey D's. There's some managers that make money, there's corporate people, but I'm talking about just the typical teeny boppers that they employ on a regular. And there's an endless cycle of teeny boppers that don't know their value and that they offer all these little incentives and things that it's like the Happy Meal with the toy and the cookie and all that good stuff. Don't let them dangle that cookie out in front of you. Don't just take it and think that's what you're supposed to have. When you know your worth, and I tell y'all that because my first job, I remember. Now I'm in high school still, so I just got my first job. I'm 16, right? So, and I'll tell you, I was working at Winn Dixie, but I took that little placement test, and and Winn Dixie at that time, I was making 620 an hour, guys. I thought that was a lot of money. That's 620, guys. That's nothing now. 620, what? But then I go and I'm just and I going back to salary transparency. I was talking to the guy. There's a little young guy. Him and his girlfriend worked there. I'll never forget them because they were such a weird little couple. But can't think of their names, but I remember their faces. But they were talking. And he was talking about what he was making, but he was only making still like right about $5 and some change or something like that. Maybe even four or some change still. I don't know. But he was like, man, I don't know how you've been making more money than me. And we was doing the same thing. I don't know if I was a cashier then. I started off as a cashier. But long story short, guys, when new people come into the market, they normally give them more money than they give people that they already have there. And I'm telling you this because this is what happens. This is what happens. And you got to know that that's part of the deal, guys. And so, with that being said, and that's the video right there, too, guys. I'll make sure I click off of that. That's Inside Edition. But like I said, I'll share it here in a little while. Um, but but at any rate, um, knowing your worth and understanding that value is relative, because it's always going to be relative to where you are. Because take for instance the type of businesses that I'm into now, where I'm at in the side of the country that I'm on, and the area where I live. Sometimes it's just a simple change of scenery, guys. You just change your scenery. That's like if you go from LA to say where I'm at in North Carolina, you come to North Carolina, it's a big difference. You go from New York to Florida. If you go from the mountains to the ocean. It's the same concept. You go from the cold to the hot. It's always that same thing. So you're gonna have different things. What you could expect in cold weather, you knew that you had to wear your hoodie or your big fluffy coat with all the padding, but you go to the beach, you know that you're coming out there with tank top and flip flops and shorts. It's just a different mind state. So sometimes I say that to say this: when you step out the box and you broaden your horizon some, you begin to see windows of opportunity that open up to you, that might be open to you. And I'm not saying you have to just go quit your job and go find something else right away, guys. But I'm just saying, understand that $14 and $15 an hour even ain't necessarily your end game. And you don't have to just sit there and just because it's stable, and that's good. Don't get me wrong. Don't never turn down stable money. But when it comes time for those raises, guys, especially if you know you're putting in that work and you know you're worth something, do not let them people tell you that you're not worth nothing and that they're gonna sit there and keep paying you nothing for what you're giving them, because they're making money. Let me tell you guys something. I buy and sell, and I sold almost $15,000 in 3 months on eBay. This was during the pandemic. Do you know how much money Amazon, Walmart, and also, what's the other one? I can't think of the other couple places that there were. Anyways, online retailers, period. Even like the Uber during that time, Uber Eats and DoorDash and all them people, even though they pay them people the minuscule amounts and they don't reimburse them for gas and stuff. But the reality, do you know how much money they made during that time, guys? And how much money they still making, especially Walmart, Amazon, and even if you want to look at Mickey D's, guys, it's still one of the biggest chains. They still use more chicken and potatoes and apples than any other ex- um, 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 fast food chain out there. So I'm basically saying that to say this: you have to know your worth, guys. And I'm not saying you just go around telling every people what you make or nothing, but don't be scared to ask for a raise, and don't be scared to step out that box and do something different. Sometimes, at least once in your life, do something different. And don't sit there and be played. Like I said, treat it like you're nothing. Don't let people talk to you any kind of way on them jobs. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was never with that. And I'm gonna give you another example. Going back to me. Now, guys, you got to understand. Now, if you've been around my channel, if you would have watched all my videos, and if you remember what I said, but like I said, I don't tell everybody this, but I'm gonna tell the world now. I don't even have a diploma, guys. I'm that type person that they said shouldn't be where I'm at. But how is it that I own a house, even though I'm paying mortgage? But my mortgage is only like $500. I'm in a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. I got vehicles, I got animals, I got kids. How am I able to maintain all this? The society said that you need to go get a college education to be able to buy a house. Also, they said that you have to have credit. Can I tell you that I had no active credit score before I bought my house? Now, I'm giving the credit to God because it wasn't all me, but at the same time, guys, I still put that work in. And I was able to understand my value, and I had work. I have a valuable trade that I have, and it pays great money. Now I'm not doing it that much now, but I'm just telling you, if I really wanted to go out here and make money, I could be making money right now. I wouldn't be sitting in my house talking to y'all about knowing your worth, because I know my worth, and that's why I don't just work for anything. And I'm giving you one more example. I know I said I was gonna say it before, but I started talking again. But I worked I worked here because I worked at a college. I'm just gonna say I won't give too much information. I worked at a college now. You gotta understand, I don't have no diploma. I have no education according to these people. Now I'm in a college working with people who's going, to be the best things in the world. They like I talked to one guy, he's a lawyer, he was in debt or doing the lawyer thing. He was already so much far in debt, it was just sickening. All the doctorates and all that PhD stuff, career school guys. I mean, I'm not knocking school, but I'm just telling you, they were so much in debt, but at the same time I was working for an affiliate company that worked at the college. So still, it wasn't like I was working for the college. But long story short, I had the job that required me to do everybody else's job and mine, just to say the least. And So I'm talking to this time. It's the kid. I was working in the. I was basically stocking. I was basically prepping, cooking, cleaning. I was ordering. I almost got to the point where I was ordering trucks and doing all this, doing inventory, which was the manager's job. So I was talking to the cooks and some of the sous chefs and the executive chefs, and I straight up asked them, "How much money do you make?" Because I wanted to know. Because I'm like, "Hey, what do I need?" If at this point I'm thinking, "Hey, if I push this out into a career, what am I going to be making? What am I going to do?" So the cook's telling me, and I'm making $9 at this time, guys. Now this is $9. So that's a jump from my first job from 620, and I've had other jobs between 9 and 11. So and really 9 to 12. That's just working for other people. But I go in the office and I talk to the big regional district manager, and I talk to another manager, and I tell them, I said, because the cooks told me, and I'm doing his job. He coming back there asking me for help. I'm like, he's making 12.50. Another one's making 15. Another sous chef. Now, granted, I ain't have sous chef capabilities, guys, but I'm still, because I know my value. I'm like, man, he's making $18, and I'm still doing some of his job. They're gonna have to pay me. And I went to the office and I was like, hey, hey, hey. I said, I'm not working for $9 no more. I said, y'all gonna have to pay me 15. And I'm telling you, this is somebody without even an education, but knowing your worth. If you know your worth, you don't let people play you and don't let people get over on you. I go in the office and I tell them that I'm talking to people with degrees and people that think they somebody on this world scene and got more stuff than probably I'll ever have, credit that I'll never even have, things of that nature, being alive longer than I ever will be at this point in my life when I'm talking to them, because I'm 19, 20, guys. I'm telling you, I'm really young. But at the same time, I'm not gonna let y'all school me. I'm not gonna let y'all punk me. No way, no how, no sir, no sir. So I go in there and I say, hey, give me 15 or I'm quitting. I'm walking out. I'm not doing everybody else's job, and y'all not gonna pay me. But of course, the education thing came into the picture. So they say, because the education, because certain jobs require you to have associate's degrees and things like that, certain levels of employees. So they said we can't give you 15, but we'll give you 11. So just going in the office and asking and showing and telling them people that, hey, y'all disrespecting me, you're not paying me what I'm worth. Just speaking up for yourself, and that's what I'm saying. Speak up for yourself. Don't let these people sun you. Don't let these people play you. Speak up for yourself, and you tell them you need to pay me more money or I'm walking. That's it. That's it. That's all. I need to be making more money. You're not gonna keep nickel and diming me to death. You're not gonna give me 5 cents on a 6 month raise. You're not gonna give me 70 cents, $1. You're not gonna nickel and dime me to death for the rest of my life. When you got a young guy that's gonna come in tomorrow and he's gonna make almost $10, $15 more than I will, just like that. And we'll say respectively $5 to $10 more than a normal labor job, which is what that was, basically. Somewhat skilled, somewhat labor. But still, they gave me a $2 raise, guys. So I'm walking around there. I went from making 9 to 11 overnight. You see what I'm saying? So how does that work? You have to say something. You have to know your worth. But at the same time, if I never talked to those cooks and I never talked to those other people that was making more money than me, and that if they wasn't being willing to tell me, although they didn't feel threatened by me, and that's what I'm saying. Because you have salary transparency, that doesn't mean to feel threatened by anybody. It's not like a showy display of your means of life, so to speak, or a showy display of your life. It's not nothing even like that. Sometimes you just want to know because you want to know. Because sometimes you want to know at the position where you at, am I making enough money for what I'm doing? Because, and I'm not saying that you go to a job, you agree to what you get paid for. There's contract work, and there's some people that have no competes. There's many types of different contracts that you can sign. You just got to read the fine print and don't sign on that line if you don't know what you're getting yourself into. That's if you go to a temp agency, whatever the situation, do it. I know we got, and that's the thing. See, that's the thing about working. See, and if you don't, sometimes if you don't change your location, and I'm saying a bus ticket ain't that much to save up for. You can almost go to a stranger and tell them, hey, I want to try to get to a different place. It's gonna cost me this much, and they might even help you. I would even advocate that for some people, even if you have to move your whole entire family. Even sometimes you have to do what you got to do to make your ends meet. And I'm not saying this, guys, because again, I feel like everybody's gonna be rich and millionaires, but I'm just saying, just knowing your worth, guys, and not letting yourself be suckered into doing something that you don't want to do and that you know you should be getting paid for. Meanwhile, everybody else is going in the office and they acting like I was, and they telling them that I'm gonna quit. You don't know that half the time. You don't know that people are getting raises behind, all over the place, and everybody like where I used to work at this particular job and talking to you about now, I would be talking to those people and they would be telling me, and I was in the office. I was so connected in this place because I was going back from I was up with corporate half the time. A corporate would come around, but see, I'm this type of person. Even with mandatory meetings, guys, I was kind of like I said, I'm really bullheaded, and so people they get all crazy. Oh, we got mandatory meeting. I'm thinking mandatory meeting. Why they gonna take me away from my work for to tell me what y'all? They're really talking to y'all. They ain't talking to me because I'm like I said, I was like a unicorn where around there. I was doing this, doing that. I was everything. But I would come late to mandatory meetings. They didn't say nothing. Or I missed like when they say your mandatory meeting, you got to come in on your day off and you clock in, you get paid. But yeah, no, I wasn't there. Y'all have a mandatory meeting on my day off. I'm staying home. I don't care if I'm getting paid or not. I'm not coming on my day off for no mandatory meeting. It's either you're gonna work me that day and I'll be there, or whatever. I'm just saying there's certain things about that. So during those times, I would be in the office. Even sometimes when they were hiring people, guys, I would sit here and hear the conversations why they not gonna hire somebody. Somebody they would say people were overqualified. So all them people that had all those degrees and all that schooling, and they were just looking for a job because they needed a job. They wouldn't even give them a chance. They sit here and gave somebody that didn't have no education a chance, and then they sit there and even gave me more money than they was giving everybody else that was on that same level I was. There was still people in there, guys, and this was, if you ever remember back when in North Carolina, not North Carolina, but in USA, that immigrant thing was really big. I don't know who was president then, but they were talking about this and all the politics. But what they did, they start telling companies that you have a certain amount of time before you can't work illegal immigrants and you can't work people without the proper papers and all that stuff because a lot of people's working immigrants paying them little amounts of money. But let me tell you something, guys. When I tell you that they were paying these people nothing, they were paying them nothing. And it's crazy because and I'm gonna say this, guys, because there's a lot of disenfranchised people, and I'm not trying to throw race in here, but there were some black girls there, and there were some Hispanic girls. Now the Hispanic girls work harder than anything, and it's always like Hispanic people work really hard. That's what they always have. That they known for working really hard because they're focused, and they, like I said, people who are in struggle, they strong minded. And I'm not saying black people don't they're not from the struggle, but at this particular job in this climate where I was at, the black people were like, oh man, this black girl's, oh man, they paying them for all this, they doing all this and they doing all that. But when it came time for payday, the Hispanic girl, she dropped her pay stub and the black girl picked it up. And she picked it up and she realized, oh my God, they're only paying her 4.25, which was the minimum wage at that time or whatever. And sometimes I think at that time there was five something was minimum wage. They was paying her below minimum wage because she was illegal. So guys, she was only making just rounded off $5 an hour, working harder than everybody else in there. And the black girl was mad because she was getting mad at him and she was concerned about her making more money because she did end up getting a good raise, a better raise than the black girl. But then when the black girl seen her pay stub, she was like, "Oh my God," uh, and she kind of reality set in. It was like, "Man, I'm complaining, but what am I complaining for? Because somebody has it worse than me." And she started realizing that, okay, here's the deal. So these people, there's some people getting played out here, guys, and I'm telling you, and that's the point I'm trying to make, guys. There's some people getting played. There's no way that I should have been making what I was making according to what the world standard is for people who what they should be paying. So going back to that salary transparency, there was no way I should have been making that, guys. And I'm not saying that to say that I'm not worth that because I know my worth, but I'm telling you, I know I was working that and I was worth that, but at the same time, according to this world, I wasn't. Because that's what they tell you. You're nobody, you're nothing. You have to work this job. You have to be here. The managers will talk to you and the corporate will look at you like you're crazy because they think you have to have that job. You won't quit. You're scared to ask for a raise. You're scared to quit. I mean, that's the type of mentality that the retail mind state is, guys. So I'm telling you, once you get out of that retail, that employee type mind state, and you get more into the employer wholesale type mind state. So now you're going from why am I going to pay $50 for a shirt at Ralph Lauren when I can just go to the auction and get a whole pallet of shirts for $600 and sell 60 shirts and make that money back and still have a whole 10 cases left and make more money. And that's what I'm saying. So I say the wholesale from the retail and vice versa. Think more from an employee standpoint, to the employer or entrepreneur type standpoint. Why am I gonna let you come in here and enslave me and work me like a dog for $2 an hour? When I could just go out, if I'm only making $2 an hour, you do the math, two times 10, it's $20, right? So that's $20 a day. I can go out here and do $20 a day. I can smile in the corner and make $20 a day if that's the case. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm basically saying, guys. So I say all that to say this. Plus, with the climate of my channel, especially what I'm doing here, guys, never take this as a me trying to flex on y'all or me trying to tell y'all, I'm making money, I'm making this. This is simply an experiment, guys. This is a guy's experiment to prove to himself, and also experiment to prove to people who don't really understand crypto and who are new to crypto or who have been in crypto even, to have some kind of faith, to have invest in something that seems halfway worth investing in, because it seems like the potential is there for a profit. That's all this is, guys. It's not a flex. And that I don't and I think this girl was flexing the video. If you watch it, like I said, I'll put in the link below. But at the same time, even with that being the case, I don't believe she should have been fired. And it's sad because she probably did work for her raise, and now they let her go. And so now you can tell she's gonna have to regroup, and it's humbling, guys. This is a humbling experience. So now she's gonna have to put boots on the ground. And she obviously has some skills because she's young, and she's gonna be able to make ends meet for herself. But at the same time, guys, I'm not saying go around and ask everybody what they make and you go around telling everybody what you make. But if you work a normal job right now and you know your worth and you know you putting out, guys, don't be scared to go in there and ask for more. You have nothing to lose. You tell them what you want and where you think you should be at. And then you go from there. And at least you can leave it on the table and say, hey, at least I tried. Or you can even, and I've even hit them like this, guys. I told them straight up. And I'm gonna tell you, I forgot to mention this. I told them that they're gonna either have to give me more, or I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks notice, because I'm not gonna work for nothing. So you gotta let them know that you mean business, and don't let them call your bluff. Because if you know your job's important, and you know your position is important, don't let them try to play you into thinking that you're not important, guys. That's the point. When people, it's just like a bully. If they know they can get over on you, and they know you ain't gonna smack them upside their head or punch them in their eye for messing with you, they're gonna keep messing with you. But when they realize, hold on now, yo, that's Cuz right there. Don't mess with him, bro. He got them hands, bro. You mess with him, he might bust you upside your head, Or no, don't mess with her. She crazy. You got to make. I'm like I joke around like your boy on Mr. D's Crazy Eyes now. Thinking about him. If you look at a joker like that, them eyes going all over the place. It's like, man, I don't know if I don't even want to look over there at that mug. It's kind of like that situation. But at any rate, that's what you want them to think about you. They got to know that you mean business. But at the same time, guys, even though I'm saying all that, at the same time, you got to be about business. So your work ethic has to be on point. You got to come in, you got to clock in on time. I'm not saying be there 80 minutes early. Clock in on time. You do your job, help people out. You the sixth man. And that way, when you like that sixth man, then can't nobody tell you nothing. They can't tell you nothing, guys. And then when you go in there, you have to offer you. This is what I have. This is what I have to offer you, and this is what I'm giving you. What are you gonna give me back now that you see what I'm capable of? Either you're gonna put some respect up on my name and on my job, and you're gonna pay me a little bit more. And I'm not saying go in there and ask for $80, guys. I mean, but if you can ask for $80, or in her situation, she could get a $20,000 raise. Hey, you do whatever it takes, guys. But don't get played and don't be getting suckered into working a million years, guys. I'm telling you, on this same job I was at, there was people that have been there 10, 20. One little guy had been there almost 30 years. He wasn't even making over $15 an hour. And I'm thinking to myself, what in the world are you still doing here? It didn't take me, like I said, it's not rocket science, but I'm thinking, what in the world are you still working at this little minuscule job for? And you've been here 30 years and they hadn't paid you. Now, it's like another little spot here in North Carolina. A little lady, she had worked at a certain spot for like 30, 40 years. And I said, I know they ain't pay her what she's worth. Not for somebody to be loyal to a company like that, but that's what they want, guys. I mean, they appreciate loyalty, but they appreciate loyalty that they don't have to pay for. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to pay you all that money for that job, because the less they can pay you, that can be more to pay somebody else to do less than what you're doing. If you don't let them know, hey, I'm not going to sit here and let this, that's how that works, guys. And eventually, though, the problem with it is, too, and what I've seen, and why I'm going to tell you this, too, a lot of people end up coming back into work. They end up coming back into work because now they ain't even making enough money. A lot of people, I've seen so many retired people come back to work, guys. And that's why I'm saying, that's why I am the way I am now. That's why I guess I'm kind of like a freelancer. I just do what I have to do because as long as my body can hold up, I'm gonna work and do what I have to do to take care of me. I don't, like I said, I'm not making as much as some people. It's not stable. It is kind of sporadic, and I shouldn't be like that, especially with a family. But at the same time, because I don't have some of those credentials that y'all might have, the degrees and stuff like that, and I'm not saying I can't go back and get them, but now my life is jump started, and so I'm not in a position right now to be able to reach out for those. I'm not willing to expend that energy. Let me say that because I need money now. I need tomorrow, guys, in my situation. So I got to be able to make. So I got to think on my feet, guys. I got to be witty. I got to be sharp. I got to get out here and try to make ends meet. I got to hustle. I got to do what I got to do. So that's just how I'm living. But I'm not recommending that. That's not for everybody. Some people need what they need, and they have to have that stuff. And some people need stable work. But I'm saying, but even if you need that stable work, guys, even if you need it, just don't get punked, guys. Don't let them not know. Don't let them have the opinion that you don't know your own worth. Because as soon as they understand that you don't know your worth, they're gonna take advantage of you, and they're gonna do it every single time. Everybody in your life will do it if you let them. Always know what you're worth, and don't ask for nothing less, guys, because you're worth so much more than you could ever imagine. Just from on the standpoint of being a person. And then especially if you go into a job and you busting your butt and you doing everything for these people, you know how we are, guys. Sometimes we even worked off the clock. You like a job so much you just come up there and chill, You don't even gotta be on the clock. You helping people do this and do that. I mean, it's some jobs that's like that. We get real comfortable. But nah, guys, y'all gotta understand. Don't go up there and work on your day off. And if you gonna work, clock in and work. Like I said about the mandatory meetings and all the mandatory this or that or whatever your situation is, guys, you just got to let them know. And I'm not saying put nobody in a bond or nothing because you're going to quit just because you know you can and they know they need you. I'm not saying hold that over somebody's head or employer's head because there's some people who got small businesses that really need good people that they can't afford to pay. But they might say, well, I can give you a little bonus at the end of the year. Well, if you give me a bonus, I'll stay. Hey, I can live with that because around that time we're gonna make a little bit more toward the end of the year, and I'll work for you for that as long as you hold up your end of the bargain and it comes that time and you don't forget me. Because if you get me, I'm taking Patsy and Joe. And we about to walk, and you can watch and sit here and watch my head get small because I'm gone. And you just tell them that like that, and be straight up with them. Because guys, again, you got to know your worth. But anyways, guys, I know I got a little heated and got a little. I guess I watched this, and this is the epitome of the type of person that I am, guys. And that's what I'm telling you guys. That's one thing I can't stand, and where I'm at in my life, especially when it comes to money, guys. And like I said, my view of money is a lot different from how other people view money. And I think some people's view of money is just all misplaced and misguided. And you just got to understand, money is just a means to an end, guy. I know they you see the Instagram, you see the YouTube channels of people just flaunting and flossing. You see Floyd Mayweather, he's got his money team. He's got all this and all that. You see the big time superstars. And it's a shame they pay basketball players more than they pay firefighters and police and all that. So you can see the whole wage thing and then the disparaging between what they pay a woman versus what they pay a man. And I understand men have certain qualities and skills that they can do, like maybe like a bricklayer. That a lot of women, not saying women can't lay bricks because they can, guys, but you got to understand it is a very physical job. And you take a woman who's more emotional and has a lot of physical things that happen to them during the month and certain times in their life. And you might not want to put a woman going through menopause that has hot flashes up on a roof at the in the middle of the day, especially that 1 or 2 o'clock time, and it's about 80, 90, really about 100 something degrees up there, and you're working and you laying that roof down. Not every woman can do that. There are some special women that work really hard and they do it. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about from the standpoint of just the fact that they still sometimes don't get that respect that they deserve because they're not a man. And so that's a whole horse of another color. I'm not trying to get into politics. I'm just telling you a lot of things in this world is unfair. But some things is within your control, guys. It's within your control. And I know you can only control what you can control, but sometimes some things are within your control. And sometimes what you make has been in your control this whole time and you've overlooked that very factor. And you've overlooked it. So don't overlook it from this point, especially seeing how quick things have changed. The pandemic has taught us so much. And I think a lot of people now starting to realize what's really important, guys. And that's why I'm telling you, money ain't so important. I mean, it is because you got to have it. But think about it. If you didn't have to have money, what would you be doing? You'd just be spending time with your family. You'd be eating. You'd be chilling. I'm sure you still work. I mean, most people work. It's like It's like just because a person ain't working and making money don't mean that they don't work. You go home, you clean, you cook, you go out in the garden, you go, if you hunt, if you fish, that's still like work. I mean, even though we say it's play, but it takes energy, guys, and it takes time. Even if we ain't get money for it, we still working, we doing something. Because that's the part, that's what you're working toward in life. If that's what you aiming yourself to be. If you're going on vacation, you got a plan for it. So it requires work, it requires energy and effort. So it's no different, guys. I mean, it's different, but it's still, pretty much the same thing in my opinion anyway. I mean, you can look at that how you want to, but still, people are going to do some kind of physical work if you're working out, whatever. But if you're working for somebody else, make sure that they understand your value. Make sure they understand your value. And I think, and I'm just saying where I stand as far as with salary transparency, I believe that it's a good thing because you got to understand that sometimes you can get more. And I'm not saying again, every opportunity, sometimes you can't, guys, and it's just the reality. It's just a tough situation. And I know some of you, that's why y'all invest in crypto right now. Because y'all just, man, y'all it's really hard for you, and I'm sorry for you. I'm even sorry for myself because I'm be honest with you, I've made my bed hard and I'm laying in it. And it is hard to live like this, guys. Not everybody can do this. Not everybody can do this, but it's very possible, guys. And that's the thing about it. You live by the market, you die by it, and that's whether you're working for yourself or somebody else, because the market's gonna dictate what you're worth sometimes, and unfortunately, they don't value you as much as you think they do. Because if you died, and you'll hear people on the job, they always say this. They'll find somebody else to fill your position tomorrow, and that's the absolute truth. There's always somebody that can fill your shoes. So while you have the time and your energy, that's why you try to, especially now, I can say because I'm a little older now, I try to tell young people this now. You gotta. I'm not saying go out here and kill yourself, but of course, my first thing I tell them to get yourself straight with God, because you gotta have that spiritual part of your life right. I believe that more than anything. But when it comes to the physical part, while you got this time and you got this energy and this youth on your side, you can about do anything. Don't waste it, guys. Don't be sitting here using drugs and living la vida loca, and all of a sudden you turn around, you're 80 years old, and you got nothing to show for it in your life. You got so much time and energy, you can use it for a very good purpose, and you can set yourself up to be better prepared to handle a family, guys. Because when you get a family, especially if you're a younger person, I mean, like I say, all bets is off, guys. I'm telling you, you never know what's gonna happen. And I have all girls, guys, and I'm telling you, I never would imagine these girls are expensiver than a mug. I'm just gonna tell you this, guys, because women require so much more than little boys, and little men. Men are just so much different. I could have, if I had three sons, we can be standing outside in the shack. We have a bunk beds like you do in like a like the army barracks or something. Have a, I get a 10 by 20 building. We live in it, put an AC in it, put a little game in a chair or something, and we straight. As long as we can eat, we got a little shower place, use the bathroom. But women, not so much. It's a lot different. That's why, again, too, it comes down to your choices that you make and who you decide to be with in life, and just trying to get to know that person and make sure that if you do get with a person, if they're not so high, not a person that's so high class, guys. Because a lot of these women, these high class women, some of them never get humbled in their lifetime. So they imagine that that's all they had. They used to getting and having. They've never not had. And if you be the guy that gets stuck with a woman like that, I feel so sorry for you. I feel so sorry for you. I'm not saying that it's not good to take care of your woman and treat her the best you can, but some things is just not possible for a man to provide that woman because again, what we talking about now, again, we want you to know your value and everything, but unfortunately, the way things are, sometimes you just can't give what you want to give, and you can't afford what you want to afford. I mean, just like a housing now, you look at all these people. I'm telling you, guys, there's people right now that got enough credit to be able to afford a house that's worth over $1 million. I mean, they can make those payments. Why in the world during this time would you anybody in their right state of mind, unless you was like 100 millionaire, want to spend over $1 million on a house and pay those payments? That's like a 3,000, 4,000, maybe even a $6,000 to $7,000 payment a month. I mean, I'm not saying if you ain't got the money, hey, you can do it if you got the money. I'm not knocking wealth. I'm not hating. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. But I'm saying, wouldn't it be so much better if you were smarter, though a smart person would say, instead of me getting $1 million house, get the 150, $250 house with land, and then I can maybe build on this or do something. I still would pay less than I would pay for this house, and I'll have a place to stay right now. And I just, like I said, modifying your mind. So it's different things again, guys. I'm not trying to tell you how to live. I'm not. That's not what I'm getting at. the whole purpose of this video was just to talk about your worth. So I'm kind of going off the. I'm just talking now. But anyways, guys, just know your worth, guys. I'm not gonna sit here and talk you half to death, but know your worth and understand that you are worth more than probably what you're getting. And if you've never asked, and if you never decide to ask, then you'll never know, guys. So there's nothing wrong with just trying. Just try. Just try. Go in there, head held high, and you just put your foot down. And one other thing, guys, if you can help it, if at all possible, never sign a no compete. I'm just gonna tell you, or if you do sign a no compete, make sure it's short, 6 months after the job, 2 months after the job. Don't let them people try to stun you. I mean, some stuff I know they got intellectual rights to some things I understand it, but guys, if you're in a bakery and the woman teaches you how to make a cake, which is more than likely you already know how to make a cake, you're not going you can make cakes at your house and sell them, but sometimes those no competes, they involve all your intellectual rights. So if you write a book while you under that no compete, they own the book. So you got to understand those contracts and things of that nature. So don't. I would say if you have a job and they talk about no competes, let Patsy and Joe, and you tell them, hey, you gonna turn around and you gonna see me walking, and you gonna watch my head get small because I'm gone, because I'm not trying to do that. No, I won't. I won't sign a no compete, but I will give you my word that a month or two after this, I won't use these skills or these abilities to be able to make myself better in life. Because never let nobody sell you short on what you're capable of. So many people, guys, do that, and I know it's good jobs, and that's where they lure you in. But you got to understand, people's potentials is out this world. But when you allow yourself to be under that umbrella, that no compete, guys, they own you, guys, and it's no different from salary, guys. Sometimes it's better if you stay hourly. If you under that umbrella to where you can stay hourly because you don't feel like they own you. And then too, even with the call in, if you're on call, and some jobs require that. I've been on call before, but the reality of it is that if you're on call, you got to make sure that they make sure they pay you. If you're gonna go out of town, make sure your per diem is right, and make sure they're paying you per diem right away. It's not that you have to wait for your next check. Say, nah, if I go out of town, with some jobs you can do this, guy. I'm not saying every job you can, but sometimes they give you a gas card. They'll give you things. And like I said, I've done a lot of things for somebody who shouldn't be where I'm at right now, and in my life, I've done enough and I know enough and I learned, guys. I learned that hey, you just got to know better, try to do better, not try to let the world dictate what you are and what you're capable of. Because if you do that, you never feel right about it. You always do stuff that you always hate to do, and you always be in a situation where you just say, "Man, I should have, would have, could have, but I didn't." But I'm not that type person now. I think I'm to the point now. I've done pretty much did what I wanted to do. But I will say this, and this is the. It's not a regret, but I would say I would have tried to focus more on one thing and did one thing really well. But my problem, and this is the problem with life, is that whenever I did focus on one thing real well, either I have issues with that or I had issues in my private life that kept me from being able to do that. So I had to transition. I had to adapt. And so I've never been in a position, guys, and this is just me. Your life may be different to where I can sit and just focus on one thing, because whenever I get focused on one thing, it's like inevitable. And my life, something always happens. And this is just again, this is what's happened for me. I'm not saying for you, but for me. And so that's the biggest thing I wish and so I'm saying that I wish that really I'm not saying about what my mind state, but I wish my circumstances would have allowed me to focus on one thing more and then eventually phase in different things over time. That way I could be better off in some senses than I would be now. But at the same time, like I said, I don't make a lot of money, but I'm not tripping, guys. Like I said, I don't. That's another thing. I like being where I'm at. I'm pretty much still in the poor class for married income. You know, not to get too personal and get to all my information, but where I'm at now, I'm very comfortable with that. I'm not giving Uncle Sam all my money. I do pay taxes, but he's just only getting what he's deserving of. But at the end of the day, I have what's most important to me, guys, and it's always been important to me is my time. So I will say, in my short life, I've had a lot of time, and I've been here to be able to take care of my family, and I've been able to be active in their lives. I mean, for what I could do, what I was given, and I don't have no regrets with that. So I'm not gonna go into my later years and regret the fact that I couldn't spend time with my family, because that was a big thing for me growing up. That I said I'm gonna be different from what I'm seeing out here. I'm gonna take and I'm gonna be here in my family's life. I'm gonna be more active. If they need me, at least they know they can call daddy and he can come right away. I'll drop everything that I'm doing. I'll be able to take care of them. And that's what that's what a lot of people, because they feel like they have to make so much. And that's where I sacrifice the money part. So where I don't make as much, maybe as the average person. And I'll say the average person even, guys, because I don't make a lot of money. But I do make but when you talk about what do you price that you put on time and family and all that stuff, that's the difference. So I am able to be here and I'm able to take care of things. I'm sitting here now. It's 1:29 afternoon. I've been talking and doing YouTube videos all day. Um, I really hadn't made nothing today, but I made something yesterday. So, but I am being able to share my experiences with y'all. So maybe this might help you. So in that sense, I have gained, So I'm saying I'm not. And then at the same time, my reflex is working. My YouTube is working in the background. My eBay is working in the background still for me. So that's what I'm saying. So now I'm to the point to where I'm not so stressed because I don't have stable. But at the same time, something's still working right now in the background, and something's gonna work out for me. And somebody might call me and say, "Hey, I need you to do this for me, boss," and I'll go take care of that. Or today, this is the job. And actually, I do have a big job that I'm gonna go estimate tomorrow. So that's another thing. So like I said, there's just things that just come up, guys, and you just got to take it as you get it. But I will say this to say all that to say this is that even though you got the salary transparency, salary, I don't know why I keep wanting to say salary. I'm so lazy in my speaking sometimes. But the salary transparency is very important, I think, to some degree. But at the same time, there is a time to talk and there is a time to be quiet, like the Bible says. So you can't tell everybody what you're doing, or if you are going to tell everybody, at least what I'm doing here, I'm kind of got some anonymity. I don't think it's too hard to figure out who I am if you really took the time to figure it out, but or you just know what to look for. But at the same time, there is a time to talk and there's a time to be quiet. So there is sometimes that I think it's best that you don't tell some people, in certain situations you don't tell some things. But for the most part, I don't think it's a big deal if somebody does tell you what they make or if you tell them what you make under the right circumstances. So that's what all I'm saying, guys. So I'm not gonna sit here and talk you after death. I said that like 10, 15 minutes ago, but really now I'm telling you, you're on with me. Always learn with crypto. Like I said, I'm always learning. I hope you always learning, and I hope that you can watch this video, guys, and maybe just read through the comments and people, and then maybe offer up your opinion, guys. Like I said, some people feel different. Some people still old school to where you don't tell people. But once I read through these comments, Mario, his first comment was what I really liked. So and it's pretty much where I'm at because again, if you don't know your self worth and you don't know your value, man, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. But peace out. You on with me. Always learn with crypto.